Hello friends, very good afternoon today. I welcome you to today's session on international marketing. And today we in the last class we have started with block 2, that is international marketing mix. So we have started with the first unit in the international marketing mix that comes to us as the fourth unit, that is international product planning and pricing. Now, let us start. In the last class, I discussed with you about what is product, what are the major steps in the new product development process. We also discussed about the product adoption and the stages in the product adoption. Now, when a product is entering into a new market, the major challenges include trying to bring in awareness in the minds of the people about the product, trying to create interest in the minds of the people about the product. Then the consumers will evaluate, that is, compare this product with whatever the products they have seen past or whatever the other products they have. In alternative or in comparison available in the local markets and the other international uh, products from brands from other international MNCs. After the evaluation, they try to first start with a trial. As part of the trial, they may try to buy the product completely, that is the formal size or the normal size of it, or they may go for purchasing the trial, what you call trial packs. Sometimes some MNCs and also some local companies identify certain geographical areas. Like if you take the example of India, they have identified Hyderabad, Vishakhapatnam, and Pune to be a copy of, in the sense, the geographical spread and the population spread in these cities are very much similar to that of how the spread is in our country. So they called as test markets, where in these markets the product is commercialized in a very limited level at first, and then later the product is commercialized to the other areas in that particular country or in that particular geographical area. After successful trials, once the product is accepted, then we call it as the product is adopted by the new market. Now, let us try to understand the theory of international product life cycle. I think you are already aware about the product life cycle, where there are basically 4 stages in the product life cycle, 2 extended stages. That is, we have the product being developed. So it comes as the extended, 0 stage, you can call it as. Then there is the introduction of that product, growth stage, maturity stage, decline stage, and finally the product is extinct from the market. So to understand this product life cycle, we could take the example of, in the starting, we had radio on one side and transistor on the other side. And a combination of these two has come up as 2-in-1. There is something called, uh, uh, you know, a speaker or a tape recorder that have come as the development of over this transistor. At the same time, we can identify gramophone records which have become the artistic pieces in either museums or in the rich people's accessories. So that product is already extinct from the market. Now, after the tape recorder, they thought what else? And they thought of a black and white television and also speakers with, tape recorders with speakers, woofers, and all. From black and white television, they have gone for color television. That is, as the markets are becoming matured, more and more models, more and more options are given to the potential customers so that penetration of the product is more and more in markets. Now, after color television, they spoke about LCD, then they spoke about LED, then they spoke about after LED, they were talking about home theater. LEDs, LCDs, and home theaters were introduced simultaneously almost at the same period of time. Then they said a laptop and a desktop. Now you have a same monitor that can be used as a, we call them as a smart television that can be used like a laptop, and that can be also like laptop screen, and also that can be used like a television screen. Now, that company will be successful in this particular decade or the coming decade who are able to visualize what next. In this journey, there are certain products which have already extinct from the market. Pagers are not there, they are extinct. People are not using them. Black and white televisions are almost extinct from the market. And more, the mobile phones have become handy and they are taking the role of both a desktop and like a television monitor, everything. So this is what we are trying to understand a product life cycle from a particular market point of view. But when we try to understand the product life cycle from a company's point of view, when it is looking at various markets in different countries, going through different stages in the product life cycle. For example, when in the developed nations, LED televisions were there. In the developing nations, color television and LCD were itself luxury. So these differences in the markets are inevitable, and hence there is a need to understand the international product life cycle, and we can understand it in 4 stages. Now, this is how we can see the international product life cycle. On the y-axis, we are seeing the origin at 0. On the positive side of the axis, we have exports, and on the negative side of the axis, we have the imports. That is, the country has imports and also exports. The company also has some, that is, imports and exports. Now, here, this we will try to understand from home country and a company that is trying to market its products to the overseas markets. Now, the first stage, we call it as a stage 0, as the local innovation. That is, a company has got an innovation in its hand, and this innovation was introduced in the country, that is home country, where the company exist and where the company's headquarters exist. And that innovation is very, very successful in that particular country. Now, once this innovation is successful in the country, the company tries to see to it that the product is purchased by as many people as possible in that particular market till the complete market is penetrated and all the options in that market are being utilized by the company. Once they realize that all markets are penetrated and all models are penetrated in the local market and the product is very promising in the local market, the company will think of exporting it to the other countries. Now, this starts the stage 1 of the international product life cycle, that is overseas innovation. Whatever the product, in whatever the design and technical specifications that is being marketed in the local market is marketed, that is exported in the same form to the international market. That characterizes the first stage, that is the overseas innovation. Actually, though we call it as stage 1, we call it in the second level. Okay. Now, here, because the company is marketing it to the overseas markets, it increases the sales. It can take the advantages of the opportunities in the overseas markets. The revenue will increase, the profits will increase. At the same time, the company will get the synergy or the advantage of being a pioneer, that is first to introduce that product in that international market. This stage, advances into the next stage where we call it as the maturity stage. That is, seeing that the product is promising. There is every chance, because the company is exporting that product into the overseas market, that is, we call it as a host country. The government might interfere, or the government might get in. That is the first thing. And the government might introduce some sort of protective measures to safeguard the local firms. That is the first point. Second point is, once the product is seen to be successful in the international markets, there is every possibility that local firms might be interested, or some other MNCs might be interested, and they start copying that product, or they start modifying that product and introducing their brands in that particular range, in that particular product range. That characterizes the second stage, that is in reality third level, that is stage 2, maturity. This poses challenges to the pioneering company, that is that company which has innovated the product. Stage 3, or the fourth level, is about worldwide imitation. Because the product is very, very promising, many companies start similar products, manufacturing similar products, and they market similar products. This will increase the number of competitors that the innovating firm has in, either in the innovative country or in the other overseas markets. Because of this increased competition, sales might get into stagnant. That is, there will not be increase in the sales. At the same time, the production and distribution costs for the innovative firm might increase. Because there are competitors, and because some other competitors have not invested, for R&D and all, they might sell the product at a lesser price than the innovative company. This will reduce the overall profits for the innovative firm. And this will make the overseas markets very, very unattractive for the innovative firm. And whatever the pioneering advantage that the innovative firm has, as far as as this particular product is concerned, will be lost. Okay. And actually, this may, force the innovative companies to think, to stop exporting or to reduce the production of that particular product, and then think of some other innovation. And this is called reversal stage, that is level 5 or stage 4. This stage is characterized by standardization, and there is a comparative disadvantage to the innovative firm, because There are other multinationals or local firms which are selling the same product at a lesser price, and whatever that innovation advantage that the firm had is lost. And this product is now like any other product. And once technology driven or capital intensive market converts into labor intensive market, because the product, the technology and the machinery is copied across and alternatives are available in the market. And from here, there is a new product, that could be sought out by the customers. And this is how international product life cycle will look like. Now, let us try to understand standardization versus adaptation. Now, when I say standardization, we are talking about, whatever, customer centric products or customer centric modifications a company tries to put into a product are standardized or reduced. For example, there were days when people used to go to the bank to do their routine transactions, like for balance inquiry, for money withdrawal, for money deposit, and all. Now, these services are standardized with the introduction of ATMs, with the introduction of online banking, with the introduction of digital banking, and all these services. So, always there will be a option or an alternative between should a company go for standardization or should a company go for adaptation. And this becomes more relevant and important in the international perspective, because the company in its home country has a product, let it be an innovative product or not, but it has a product. Now the question before a company is, should this product be what we call sold? Okay, should this product be sold in the same way, that is same product without any modifications in the international markets, or there is a need to bring in modifications, to bring in changes in the product, its design, its technology, its specifications and standards, let it be a good or a service, looking at the demands of the customers in the overseas markets. This is a very big issue that is being faced by many of the what you call companies across. Now, if the company is trying to sell the same product in the international markets, it is less costly for the firm. At the same time, packaging, advertising, the product formulation are all same. So no more additional expenditure is incurred by the company. But if the environmental factors and other factors like the cultural factors or the technical, that is the technology driven market, suppose it's an advanced country and the people in that country are technologically advanced, then might be the product is not suitable in the international markets. So at this particular point, it becomes inevitable or compulsory for the product, or what we call compulsory for the company to modify the product. Now, if the company has got some excess capacity, it becomes very easy for the company to use up that excess capacity and then sell the export whatever that is produced, that is whatever that is there, produced excess to the demand in the local market in the international markets. This requires no additional expenditure for the company. At the same time, the company can take up economies of scale. But the problem with this is if the foreign market, that is overseas market, is too heterogeneous in nature, this strategy may not function. At the same time, in circumstances where the company image and the product image is important and they should be consistent, that means they should be similar across, then there is a need for standardization and not adaptation. For example, McDonald's, KFC, these fast food centers, they want to keep a similar image and hence a similar outlet across the countries. Now, there are certain products where modifications become impossible. For example, we have artworks, music, movies. Might be movies can be dubbed, but the original characters, and the original actors may not be replaced. If it is replaced, it will be a new movie. That means a new product. It is no more the same existing product. In the same way, music, even dubbing is very difficult over there. If you really want to enjoy the beauty of that particular musical note, it has to be in the same language, in the same lyrics and the tone and all. In the same way, in case of high-tech products also, there is standardization is more beneficial. That is why group technology-based production, cellular technology-based production is introduced across the world. Now let us see adaptation. There are two syndromes, which has made US marketers, from the US marketers strategies, these syndromes have come up. We call them as big car syndrome and left hand right syndrome. Actually, left hand right syndrome is a corollary of big car syndrome. That is, it is deduced from the big car syndrome. It is believed that most of the US marketers, actually in black and white, the big car syndrome means US marketers basically were making very big cars to suit their local market in US. But in densely populated countries or in countries where the roads are not as wide as it is in US and all, these big cars may not be suitable. But the US automakers were trying to sell the same big car in the international markets without any type of modifications. And this behavior of the US marketers is called as the big car syndrome. And the left hand drive syndrome means, I think you all know, in US, the steering is on the left hand side, while in India and many Asian countries, the steering is on the right hand side in any of the automobiles. That is, the way we drive are different. Not identifying these differences, at one point of time, US marketers were selling the same left hand driven cars. That is, cars having steering in the left side. They were exporting the same cars in the other markets, which were very, very unsuitable to those markets because there the driving patterns were very, very, different. So these syndromes were identified, or they were developed, or they were discussed to communicate to the marketers that there is a need to bring in product modifications so that the product adapts to the environmental conditions in the overseas markets, to the technical development in the overseas markets, to the cultural, socio-cultural facts, and also to the natural limitations that are there in the overseas markets. Now let us see what product modifications are mandatory and what are optional in the hands of the company if the company has to bring in product, what you call adaptation. There are many circumstances where government regulations might be posed by the law of the land. And if government regulations are there, then it is compulsory for the company to bring in modifications. Then there are certain standards. For example, we have Indian highways where the minimum speed ranges from 80 to 120 kilometers. Now, if a user is traveling either in US highways or European highways, the minimum speed is ranging from 120 kilometers to 170 kilometers. And this will demand certain electrical and electronic technology to be put up in the automobiles they are manufacturing. Not only that, there are freezing temperatures in European countries and US countries. So the same car that is manufactured in India will not work in the US environment or European environment. In the same way, some of the cars that are made to suit the US or European environment may not function well in Indian or Asian environment because it is very tropical. That is, the temperatures are very high. At the same time, there is a lot of humid weather, which uh, corrodes. That is, because of which there's a lot of, corrosion happens to the metals. Then, what could be the measurement standards? For example, India, that is Asian countries, we believe in kilograms, we believe in kilometers and all. While in Europe and US, they believe in pounds, okay, when it comes to the weight to whatever it is. So the measurement standards could be different. So the same have to be used when it comes to the labeling and packaging things. Then there are certain concepts called product standards and systems demand. The product standards might differ. For example, we have so many medications which are being used in the Indian, what you call, uh, in Indian in Indian medical sector or Indian health sector, which are banned in US or European countries, but they are well used by us. So product standards and the procedures, that is the manufacturing procedures or service procedures, are also might be different from one country to the other country. Now, what are the optional product modifications that are available to a potential marketer? Especially the cost comparisons when it comes to the freight charges. That is, definitely there are certain things called as low price. If you take textbooks or academic textbooks for Southeast Asian economies, they have low priced editions. Either you talk about Pearson Education, you talk about Tata McGraw Hill, or you talk about any of these publishers. So cost comparisons will always be there. If you take US, the dollar is, dollar to rupee value, or euro to dollar value, or uh, pound to dollar value, or Middle East countries, Riyadh and all. There's a lot of differences and lot of challenges when it comes to the physical distribution also. That is, the freight charges might be different. All these points have to be kept in mind by the company. Then there are things like local conditions. As I told you, climatic conditions. There are freezing temperatures at some place. There are very high tropical climate, that is high temperatures, showing tropical climate at some other countries. That demands the difference in products, and also some product modifications become compulsion, whether the company wants to bring in those modifications or not is in the hands of the company, because there are no government compulsions over there. At the same time, we have things called space constraints. For example, if you take US, which is less densely populated than some of the Southeast Asian nations or South Asian countries, the the average apartment space is very small. If you take some countries like Singapore and all, it is much small. So that may demand the uh, kitchen appliances, the refrigerators and all to be much smaller in their sizes to suit the apartment size, that is flat sizes in those cities. Then physical appearance and design might be the colors. For example, something in orange color may not be very acceptable in West Indies. You know, where a cultural background is also involved. Even India, if you take, plain white is more worn in northern India when compared to the southern India. If you see Europeans, they have, they were, most of them wear shirts, you know, without checks. Dark colored shirts without checks they might be wearing. You come down to USA, they prefer lot of light colored background with darker checks on them, little checks, smaller size checks. So these differences are but compulsory. Then price, then product modifications may be required to suit the local customs. Like McDonald's, when it wanted to enter India, they had to introduce what we call as vegetarian menu in their menu list. Not only that, when we talk about technological limitations, when Amazon wanted to enter India long back before, you know, pandemic itself, cash on delivery was compulsorily introduced to suit Indian, you know, transactions, payment transactions. Across the world, they don't have cash on delivery at that particular point of time. Then, now let us go to the next concept. These are certain product and service decisions that the company has to make. The company has to decide about the product attributes. Attributes are the features that become part and parcel of that particular product. The branding decisions, that is whether to brand or not to brand. If brand, should they go for multiple brands, or they can use a blanket, that is umbrella branding, that is same brand for all the products. Packaging decisions, labeling decisions, that is what should be written on the package. Even the government makes it compulsory that certain information is compulsory to be printed on every package, that is unit pack, and what product support services are required. Now let us see what a brand is. These are some of the brands which are international and local brands. So a brand is a name, term, sign, symbol, or design, or a combination of these. And the main purpose of the brand is for the identification. The minute I say a brand, I say Three Roses. I am very clear what product I am referring to and which company manufactures it. And there is every possibility that the competitor's product and our product can be differentiated when these brands are being used. Now, what can brand talk about? Brand refers to 5 levels of meaning. When I say a brand, it talks about the attributes, that is the features of the product. It talks about the benefits the products are providing, because brand name and the benefit the product or the purpose the product to which the product is put up are mostly related to each other. The values of the value addition that we get when we use the brand personality and the culture. So these 5 levels of meaning are communicated when a brand is, when a product is named with a brand and when a brand is promoted in a particular market. Now let us try to understand what are the functions of a brand. There are basically 3 functions, or the 3 benefits, or the 3 purposes, or the 3 goals. Brand name will create identification and awareness about the product. As a lay customer, I am not aware about the technicalities, but the minute I get to know the name of the brand, that brand gives me belief, that gives me a explicit or implicit guarantee that the product will be good. At the same time, it gives me a guarantee of quality and the satisfaction I may get when I buy that particular product. A brand will definitely help with promotions. That is, it will be easy to promote the product over the national media or social media or in the hoardings and all when we take the name of the brand and we show the picture. Now let us see what are the various branding decisions that a company can make. Now you are able to see on the screen. The first decision the company needs to make is, should they brand or not to brand? Should the company brand or should the company not brand? Now, this is a very, very difficult question to be answered. If the company is not branding, there is a chance that the products are purchased by many companies. And then they will do the quality check and they will put their tag and sell in the market. You can take certain electronic goods from these Southeast Asian tigers like Taiwan and Thailand and Philippines, where they manufacture many electronic goods which are not branded. Many MNCs buy from them at a comparatively less price. They do the quality check and then they assemble those products, that is those spare parts, or it could be the final product also in some cases. They put their brand name on those goods and they sell at much higher prices. So there are advantages and disadvantages. Then brand positioning. How do you position your brand in the minds of the customers? Do you position based upon the attributes, that is the features, based upon the benefits, or based upon the beliefs and values? Then brand name selection. What should be the name of the brand? How do you name the brand? Are we going for different names for different products? For example, Hindustan Unilever. Fine. Now it is Hindustan Lever. HLL we call it. Lifebuoy comes from them. Then Dove comes from them. Lux comes from them. They're all Dove also comes from them. Number One also comes from them. They're all different brands. They're all toiletry soaps. At the same time, you take Dove, or you take Pond's, or you take Lakme. They're also from Hindustan Unilever. But you have a range of products under one brand, which we call it as an umbrella branding. That is, many products are named with the same brand. We call it as a brand extension. The advantage with it is, one, already the brand is well established. So it is easy for the company to push other products in that segment into the market. For example, Dove started with only soap. Now from shampoo to moisturizers, everything is there under the name, under the umbrella of Dove. Dove was already well established. So it becomes very easy for the company to push other products under the umbrella of Dove. Now here we have the company has to think about the differentiation between manufacturer's brand, private brand, licensing, co-branding. This we can discuss at a later stage. Then we have brand development. Here we can try to understand what are private brands. In India, we do not see them, but in US and Europe, other countries, we can see them. Private brands are the retailer brands. For example, Walmart, I think you know, it is the biggest, huge retailer in the world. So it orders many refrigerator manufacturers or laptop manufacturers or AC manufacturers to use their excess capacity, that is free capacity, free production capacity, and manufacture refrigerators, for example, if I tell, and deliver it to the Walmart. In the Walmart stores, these refrigerators are named as Walmart refrigerators and they are sold to the customers. Like that, where retailers name a product by their own name and sell it in the market. We call them as the private brands. Now, another challenge or another point we need to understand from the company's perspective is brand consolidation, brand origin and selection, and brand characteristics. Brand consolidation means at the earlier stages, the brand is introduced and lot of advertisements, lot of positioning, uh, strategies are used so that the brand is well established in the market. Once the brand is well established, it becomes easy at one point of the time for the company, but at the same time, it becomes compulsory for the company to maintain and manage the same brand name and the same, promise that is being made to the potential customers. From where does the brand name come up? Brand origin is where does the brand name come up? Is it coming from the culture of that particular country? Or is it coming from the usage pattern of that particular product? Or is it coming from the what we call the benefit that the particular product is trying to give? For example, Mama Earth is there. Mama Earth brand name, that name has its origin from the concept that earth nourishes us. In the same way, the Mama Earth personal care products nourishes the skin of people. So that's also very important. The brand name, we should be able to get connected with it. Then we have the brand characteristics. So what does brand communicate? That name communicates to what extent? And that communication should be coupled with the promotional strategies. Then the brand will develop a personality for itself, and further in the long future, it will create equity for itself. That is belief, that name. For example, Johnson & Johnson. It is well established brand across the world when it comes to the baby products. So no mother will doubt if a new product is introduced by Johnson & Johnson. And that is what we mean to say by characteristics. Now let's come to the next concept, packaging. As you all know, packaging is the outer cover of the product. The outer cover that gives recognition, shape, and an identification to the product on the first end. On the second end, this packaging talks about how the product is distributed and what precautions have to be taken while distributing. Distributing means transporting the finished product from the company godowns through distributors, wholesalers, retailers, till it reaches the final consumer. So the basic role of packaging is to carry the goods safely through a distribution system to the customer. There are 3 levels of packaging. The first level is at the primary package level. Primary package means the manufacturer will never produce large variety of goods. They will produce few variety of goods in large numbers. So, 1,000 units or 10,000 units are packed together as one box. Usually, if you take FMCGs, let me give you an example of fruity. 12 fruities are packed as one box. Like that, 12 such, packs become a case. Like that, 12 cases become a smaller box. Such 12 boxes become a bigger box. Like that, we have the boxes go on increasing till it becomes a big container. That's where for shipping purposes, for distribution purposes, for transportation purposes, that packaging is useful. When we talk about the unit load, we are talking about the basic small fruity pack. That is the 10 rupee pack or 5 rupee pack we are talking about. So these are the three levels of packaging. Now, why packaging becomes compulsory? There are many reasons. Let us see. There are government regulations in an overseas market or a local market which makes it compulsory for the company to go for certain type of packaging, to use certain type of material, to use some labeling over that particular package. For example, if you take perishables, it is compulsory to use the manufacturing date, the expiry date, the nutritional content, whether it is a vegetarian product, it is a non-vegetarian product, what ingredients are used, where it is manufactured, what is the call center name, number, and all details. For example, the present compulsions, go ahead, or they go to such an extent that even for laptops and televisions, there are manufacturing year and also the expiry dates being very clearly marked over the package. Not only that, uh, stocking instructions have to be also be given. Usually an upright umbrella is shown, that is which way it is to be held as upright. We cannot, reverse the pack and then keep it. Fine. Then sometimes to, to look into the language also, especially when we are forwarding these products to countries which do not speak English, or to countries where it is compulsory that labeling should be in the local language. So labeling has to be in the local language plus a universally accepted language like English can be written over there. Now, packaging modifications are demanded for having a greater marketing impact. For example, Maggie is successful across the world for among children, it seems, because of the color combination that is used over the pack. Yellow and red. In the same way, Yippee is able to, give tough competition to Maggie, because I think you all know Maggie is square in size while Yippee is circular in size. And this circular in size, though it is not a very important feature when it comes to the perishable like an eatable, but that is one of the success reasons, it seems, for the success of Yippee brand across. Now, let us see what are the functions of packaging. The primary function of a package is to hold or withstand the product, and most importantly, to communicate about the product. While the secondary function is to give protection to the product. With the present vacuum and Tetra packs being available, bubble packs being available across, the perishables, glassware, fragile ware are very comfortably distributed or very comfortably transported from one place to another without much loss to the product. Further, packaging facilitate identification of cargo consignments, from which country, from which company it has come, and to which country and to which particular destination it is heading. This information will be visible and clear from packaging. And this packaging also indicates if any hazardous or any harmful products are available within the cargo, and what are the precautions that are to be taken up while handling that particular cargo is also expressed over there. Packaging is also required to communicate the handling, storage, and stowage instructions. Then hazardous and dangerous marks are also put up over the packaging. Now let us see what is packing, repacking, and forwarding. Now, especially in the international marketing where the goods are exported beyond the geographical borders of a country, this becomes more important. Every market has its own stringent quality standards for packing aimed at ensuring health and hygiene for consumers. And these regulations have to be adhered to by the company. Thus, Many a times it may be made compulsory for the products, to have breaks for repacking according to the country, and if required, according to the market also, industry standards and the markets before they are distributed further. These are done at the dealers level or distribution level also. And the technology is taken for help, not only to grade and sort also, but to keep the product in good condition. For example, cold chain network is provided if the products are perishable. That is why we are able to comfortably have apples that are grown in California. We are able to have enjoy the tulips that which flowered in Europe. And in literal terms, the globe has become a global village. Now let us see the present trends in packaging. Especially here we are talking about the materials and refurbishing part of it, or recycling part of it. Nowadays, companies are more becoming socially responsible, and hence to keep environment, in safe, they are talking about using recycled products for most of the products. Many a times, whatever the packaging material is there, they're trying to directly reuse it during recycle, or they're trying to recycle the material, or they're trying to repair the packaging material and then use it once again, or refurbish it. At the same time, eco-friendly, biodegradable and compostable materials are also more used for packaging nowadays by companies across the world. Now let us see what are the general packaging decisions and instructions that are compulsory when we look at the international standards. Here I have given the example of a local product, that is fruity, which is also exported. So package attracts attention. It describes the product. It not only gives us convenience in appearance, but convenience to use. What you're seeing on the screen right now is a Tetra Pak. And this Tetra Pak, in place of glass bottles and all, have not only increased the shelf life of the product, but also it is very mobile. That is, we can take it from one place to another without harming the product inside. Packaging talks about the dependability. It protects the product, hold the contents, and there is the prestige that is attached for better and improvised eco-friendly products. Now let us see some of the labeling decisions. The major labeling decisions that becomes compulsory are every government has made it because of consumer protection laws. They made it compulsory for the companies to give some compulsory specific information that is printed over the package, both in the language that is spoken in the local area and also in the language that is acceptable nationally or internationally. So labels range from simple tags attached to products to complex graphics that are part of the package. Label identifies, grade the product, describes things about the product like expiry date, manufacturing date, contents and all, and many a times language also. And these are the labeling compulsions. Now let us see what is price. And as you all know, price is the amount of money charged for a product or service, or the sum of the values that consumers exchange for the benefit of having or using that product or service. Why price has to be specifically discussed is product is incomplete without price. And in the Indian context, we attach price and the quality in a unidirectional way. That is, we believe that the higher the price, the higher the quality of the product. At the same time, the price, the name we give to the price from sector to sector is differs. For example, when I go to a doctor, we call it as a consultation fee. When I pay to an insurance company, I call it as a premium. When I pay to a retail broker, we call it as the brokerage. When I pay as the fees in an educational institution, I call it as a tuition fee. When I pay the price as a salary to an employee, we call it as a salary. Now, why pricing is important? Because price affects demand, and many countries across the globe, especially the developing and underdeveloped nations, are very, very price sensitive markets. They are people dense markets, at the same time price sensitive markets. And sector to sector, the price sensitivity differs among people in a particular market and also across markets. And the sensitivity of people towards the price depends upon the perceived value of the people. That is, it is not the money that is charged that is important. What is important is whether the potential customer is thinking that the price that is put up for that product is high or less. That decides whether the customer comes to the company or he or she does not come to the company. For example, if you take Indian middle class, that is why they say Indian middle class is a big black box for multinationals. They are ready to buy, an uncut diamond set, but they are not ready to, spend money for certain comforts. Then another challenge for most of the companies is price standardization. Should the price be same across the markets, or should it be different from market to market? And if it should be different, by what percentage it should be different? Now let us see what factors ought to be considered while setting prices by companies either at the local markets or the overseas markets. That is, what factors influence the price? There are some internal factors and some external factors. The internal factors are the marketing objectives of the company. That is the company going with a skimming price or a penetration price? Skimming price means the company is charging high and they don't want many. They want to milk the market. That is, they want only few people to buy the product, but they want to price their product high. If they're going by penetration strategy, they want to price the product very less so that majority of people can buy that particular product. Then what is their marketing mix strategy? What are the costs that are incurred in manufacturing that particular product? What are the organizational considerations? For example, Rolls-Royce company cannot reduce the price of its cars because the premiumness that is attached to that car will be there only if the price is at that level. At the same time, Maruti cannot imagine to increase the price of its cars because one of the driving factor in addition to service centers across the country is price. That means that motivates the people to buy that particular car. Then there are external factors, the nature of market demand. How are the competitors? What is the price of the competitors? What is the demand? Is the company in a monopoly stage, or is the prices driven by the government, or are the prices driven by the market? And there are some environmental factors like economy, resellers, government, political factors, etc. Now, when GST was levied, the price at most of the hotels increased because hotels, restaurants were a part of luxury products. And for an average Indian, felt that the price at the hotels has increased. But that was a government compulsion, which the company cannot do anything about. The setting price also depends upon the elasticity and cross elasticity of demand. exchange rate, that is dollar to rupee exchange, euro to rupee exchange, etc., the market share, tariffs and distribution costs, and the culture of the market where the company wants to sell its products. Then what are the alternative pricing changes that the company can introduce? If the company wants to initiate a price change, when the company should initiate the price change and when the company should not initiate the price change. So the company has to decide the timing of the price change. If the country is going through recession, then that is not the right time. At the same time, during festive seasons, if the general cultural norm is to sell at subsidized rates or to give discounts, then it becomes compulsory to reduce the price. The company cannot afford to increase the price, off seasonal discounts, etc. Number of price changes. How many times the price can be changed in a quarter or in an year? Time interval to which price change applies. Number of items to change. Use of discount and credit, and bundling and unbundling. Bundling of products means when we go to supermarkets, we will see. And a very crude example I'm giving you so that you all understand it. The combination is we have an Ashirwad wheat atta of 5 kgs, 5 liters oil, and might be 2 kgs sugar, all bundled together and then given some discount, and they are sold at one price. That is bundling. And if I try to buy individually, if I add all the three, the price might be more. If the company decides upon discounts, how are we trying to give these discounts? Is it cash discounts, quantity discounts, functional discounts, bundling or unbundling of the product? Yeah, friends, today I will end this class now, and tomorrow let us meet at the same time to continue and understand about dumping and transfer pricing. Thank you, friends. Have a great day.